You're welcome to Chidi's Auto Channel. Today we are going to discuss about rotating our tires. We are going to talk about if you're buying your tires in twos and in fours. And remember, in my last video I said if you have the funds, it's often better you buy your tires in fours instead of in twos. Just there are times something may happen and one of the tires may get burst or something, but you have to replace it. That's an exceptional case. But under normal circumstances, it's required that you buy your tires in fours or in twos. And then remember, what we're going to talk about applies to both vehicles that are front wheel drive or rear wheel drive or even four wheel drive. But just that at times, some vehicles, especially the back wheel drive vehicles, for those that do not use solid axles, those that use independent suspension at the back, you have that in some Mercedes, some Honda, who also have back wheel drive or all wheel drive, but they are not using solid axles. At times, the suspension may be bad, and then you notice that the back tires would always form kind of a K leg at the back, especially when you carry load. And when you have such, the tires tend to wear from the inside on both sides. So those ones are not really what I'm concentrating. That one is a fault that the owner of the vehicle needs to fix. But basically, I want to talk about rotating our tires if our back suspension or back solid axles are okay, and then the front is also okay. So in that case, that is our concentration. If yours is having any issue or if your car has that K leg at the back, especially when you carry people, know that it's a fault you need to go to the mechanic to fix. So first of all, let's start with buying our tires in twos. Let's say that after the first 6 months, something happened, you did not buy your tires in fours, you bought maybe a set of two and then to buy another set of two. Now, first of all, is that if you're buying those two tires, the ones that are good, the last two that you bought should be in front. And then when you put it in front, you leave the older ones at the back. Now, those ones that are in front, after 4 to 6 months, why I say 4 to 6 months is it's dependent on how often you move your activities. If you're the type that drives very often and moves around very often, know that you will require doing this after like 4 months, especially if you're using your car for either maybe public transport or semi-public transport. But if you're the office type, go to office park, come back home, go to market, go for maybe church service or something, then you can be doing this in 6 months. But if you're constantly in if you're always on the road with your vehicle for one reason or the other, then you do this in 6 months. Now, after the first 4 to 6 months, this is your tire one, tire two. Then let's take this as tire three and tire four. Meaning this tire one, we refer to it as front left, that is FL. Then the back is RL, which is rear left. And then tire two, front right, tire four, rear right. So this RR or RL is what we are going to be using more. Now, your front tire, the last two that you bought that are in front, that I suggested you put in front because that is your steering tires and they're meant to be in, better condition mostly than the back. Now, and after the first 4 to 6 months, when you want to rotate it, you move the front left, right to the front left, and then the other way. You can see from the arrow. The arrow shows you the movement. You move from here to here, and then from here to here. And then for the back tires, you would also do the same thing. Move from here to here, and from here to here. But remember, I put it here, not compulsory. Why I say not compulsory is even if it's a front wheel drive that you're using or back wheel drive, but you did not buy the tires together, there's always a possibility that the back tires do not wear as often as the front. So they can actually last longer than the front tires. So it is not compulsory that you rotate. But if you're having an issue with your tires or your vehicle balancing system, as I mentioned earlier, then you need to go and fix it, or you may have to do this rotation. Now, after the first 4 to 6 months, this is the next thing. Those two that you bought last that are in front, look, compare them to the ones at the back, and then you move those ones from the front to the back and the back to the front. No cross rotation. Just bring the first one, the one in the front, which is front left, you bring it down. The right left, you take it up, and then you do the same for this one too. Now, if you do this and you've noticed that maybe these ones that were at the back before are already tired and worn out, then that means you have to buy another two. And when you buy another two, you take them to the front, and then those other first two that you bought that were in the front, then you would have brought them at the back here. That is the second stage, which is after 8 months or 12 months. Remember, I said 4 to 6 months, and then this will now be 8 to 12 months. When you drive it like that for the next 4 to 6 months again, it brings you down to this place. And then what are you supposed to do? You move again the one that is on the right to the left, and you move the one from the left to the right. And then you also do that at the back. But remember, as I said, it is not compulsory. If you are buying in twos, it is not compulsory that you rotate the ones at the back. You can leave it that way. At times also, you can see some people putting a different tire size in front and putting a different tire size at the back. This can also apply to them. Even if you buy the two tires all together, but they are not of the same size. Like you see some people buying, let's say, because they want to like put a low profile tires, they will put, let me use an example, 225 stroke 40 17, and then at the back they put 225 stroke 50 17. So know that you cannot cross rotate. It must always go in this way. The only cross rotation is either front or back, or you bring the one from the back to the front and take the ones from the front to the back. So when we get to buying in fours, you will now see why some things you do here you cannot do here, or some things you do here you cannot do it in this way. So this applies to either when you buy your tires in twos, or if your front two are not of the same size with your back four, or your back tires at the back. So this is what you would do. So look at the diagram very well. If you understand it, it will help you. If you don't understand it, you can go to the comment section and ask further questions, or you can screenshot it when as it is, so that you can use it when you go to your tire shop or where you work your tires, so that they'll help you to do your rotation in this way. Remember, after the first 4 to 6 months of your buying the tire, that is when you start this rotation. Now let's get to when you're buying your tires in fours. For this one, there's type A and there's type B. We'll start with type A. Remember, when you buy your tires in fours, meaning that the 4 tires were bought at the same time, one, and then secondly, the 4 tires are of the same size. The same size is that you're buying 225 stroke 60 R17, for instance, meaning that all the 4 tires should be 225 stroke 60 17, and you bought the 4 at the same time. So now let's see, after buying that tire, we are in November. Let me use January for instance. You bought the tires in January, so the next 4 to 6 months will be either April or June. April is if you're constantly on the move and you're using your vehicle for either public transport or semi-public transport, or maybe even if you're using it for your personal business but you're constantly on the move, so it means that your tires will wear faster. But if you're the office kind of person, just from home to the office, back, market, church, or other very few activities, fine, you do this after every 6 months. So 4 to 6 months. Now the first 4 months, which is in April or June, this is your tire 1, this is tire 2, tire 3, tire 4, which is the same as front left, front right, rear left, rear right. So what you have to do after the first 4 to 6 months is you take tire 3 to where tire 1 is. You can see the arrow. You just move this up, bring this down, move this up, bring this down. This is after the first 4 to 6 months. And then the next time will be the next 8 to 12 months. What do you have? See the arrows? Now remember, this tire 1 has come down to tire 3, which is the rear left. At the end, you see that this tire would have gone to tire 2 position, tire 3 position, tire 4 position. So now let's look at it. You now do cross rotation. Remember, this one had already come down here. So if you look at this arrow, this front left will come down to rear right, and then this one goes up, this one comes down, this one goes up. So let's follow this tire 1 now. Remember, it came here and now it's going here. So it has moved from tire 1 position to tire 3 position, and then it has now come up to the tire 2 position, which is front right. Now after the next 4 to 6 months again, you do another rotation. You will see that this time you take the one behind, which is rear left, up, and then bring this one down, take this one up, bring this one down. By the time you do this, which is the last the next 2 years or something, depending on how you change it, you can see that this tire 1 that used to be here had gone to this point, had gone to this point, and it's now at this point, which is here. So meaning that for the remaining period you're going to use that tire, you're going to have this tire here. It had gone round, and this will help the tires to wear evenly. So whether you're using a front wheel drive or a back wheel drive, this applies. Now if you're using a front wheel drive, remember both your steering and the tire that has the axle, that is the driving tire, are all in front. So the front tires will wear often faster if it's a front wheel drive vehicle compared to a back wheel drive vehicle, but still the same timing applies, which is dependent on how you use your vehicle. So you can see after the first 4 months, the next 4 months, which is 4 by 4 is 12, which is 1 year, 4 months. If it is 6 months, 4 by 6 is 24, which is 2 years. So it's expected that if you buy 2 new tires, after 2 years you're meant to replace it. If you're changing or rotating in 4 months, it's expected after 1 year, 4 months, you will replace it. This applies if you have the funds to buy brand new tires. But even if you're not buying brand new tires and you want to buy already used tires, it's still recommended you buy it in 4s or in 2s. This helps your vehicle, it saves your life, it saves you, and then you have a better driving experience when you're driving. Because if your tires are not wearing evenly, be front or back, especially if the two fronts are not wearing evenly, when you match brake, there's always a possibility, when you step on your brake, especially when you're high speed, there's always a possibility for your vehicle to tilt towards the side that the tire is bad. Now look at type B. This is tire 1, tire 2, tire 3, tire 4, just the same like this, which will also be front left, rear right, front right. So you can see from the arrows, this type B, so it's either you use this or you use this, but at the end of the day, this one here would have gone here, and ends here, or ends here, or ends here, anywhere, but at the end it would have gone round and it will wear evenly. This is brought down to this side, and then this one comes down. The one behind, rear left goes up, rear right goes up. That's after the first 4 to 6 months. Then the next 4 to 6 months again, you will now do cross rotation. You now do just side rotation. This one comes here, this one comes here, this one comes here, this one goes here. And then after that, you drive again for the next 4 to 6 months. It brings you to this point. The one in front comes down, the one in front here also comes down, this one goes up, this one goes up. Now if you look at it now, let's say this is tire 1. After your first 4 to 6 months, this tire 1 comes to tire 3 point, and then another time it comes to tire 4 point. From tire 1, it goes to tire 4 point, and then from 4 it comes to 3, and then here from 3 it goes to 2. So you can see that tire 1, which started here, actually ended up at tire 2 points. But in this one, tire 1 that started here ended in tire 4 points. So you see that at the end of the period, either 1 year, 4 months, or 2 years, that tire that is in front has gone round. And if you look at it, and if you follow this judiciously, you see that your tires will wear evenly, you have a better driving experience, and then your vehicle will be able to handle better, especially where you need to maybe step on your brake urgently or something. At times you see some people, this can also be caused by bad alignment, or maybe your tires are not balanced well. Remember, I mentioned in my other video that you need to be doing your alignment at least 4 times a year, depending on the road where you ply. And then you also need to be balancing your tires at least twice a year. All this will help you to have a better driving experience. And then when you're driving, when you want to steer or step on your brake for emergency, you will not have to be struggling with your vehicle. I've driven a car that as I stepped on the brake, the steering immediately, the vehicle turned to the left as if I even was the one that turned the steering. I had to struggle with the vehicle to keep it together. So these are some of the things that will help you to prevent that. So as you're driving your cars, remember to do your alignment at least 2 to 4 times a month. Do your way balancing at least once or twice a year, and then follow this chart to do your tire rotation. Recommended you buy in 2s. If you have the funds, buy in 4s. It will help your vehicle, it will last longer, you have a better driving experience. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any further question, comment concerning this, I would accept that through the comment section. Thank you. See you on my next video. I believe you learned something.